Welcome to Soul and Synergy Radio. Soul and Synergy Radio is dedicated to exploring the mysteries of the universe and our place in it. Your hosts, Terry and Danny, are the owners of Soul and Synergy LLC, based in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Each week, they will be delving into topics that are part of the metaphysical and paranormal world, along with spiritual practices that help us connect with our higher selves and tap into the energy of the cosmos. The show will feature interviews with members of the metaphysical and paranormal community, sharing their knowledge and insights with their listeners. Whether you're new to this world or an experienced seeker, Soul and Synergy has something for everyone. Now, your hosts, Terry Flick and Danny Loosemore.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Great to see everybody here on a wonderful Friday. It's going to be a really interesting show. I'm Danny and
Terry,
and we're Soul and Synergy Radio out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, in our little store, Soul and Synergy.
little store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of fun things coming up today on the show. We have our really good friend Jodi Hemenway coming in to talk about angelic language and other stuff that she's up to with her healing business. And then also we have Astrid's
interesting.
And Astrid will be on talking about astrology, being a psychic medium, her path on how she got to where she is today. So we have some really great guests on the show today.
Oh, Lisa is in from San Francisco already.
Oh,
welcome.
Hello, Lisa. Thanks for joining us. So we can probably start out with talking about what's going on tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow, Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Yes.
We are at the Elks Lodge in Stevens Point for a wellness or psychic wellness fair. It's interesting. It's ramping up really big. We have a lot of different vendors. We'll have the normal crystals and psychic readers and healers and all that stuff as well. But I guess I am doing the gallery.
Yes, you are.
So not my comfort zone, but it's okay. I'll do what Spirit wants me to do, and we'll go from there.
And for those of you, for the gallery bit, that is where Terry will be channeling and giving messages to the audience, kind of like you see on Long Island Medium.
Kind of.
It's a type of gallery setting that we have normally at our shows that other people help us out with. But this time, Terry's going to do it himself.
Yeah. Diet does them for us. Christina Bloom does them for us.
Yep.
Who else have we had? Deb.
And Jodi did.
Jodi, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
yeah, Jodi did too. Jodi did our last one in Grand Rapids. That was amazing.
Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
That woman was so busy.
I think there's something about Elks and Eagles lodges
I think
that
there
really
is.
calls to people.
Yeah.
Because at the one in Grand Rapids, it was just 100 people waiting to get in right at the start. So it was really interesting.
I can't see that one up there.
Yeah.
But okay.
And the same thing's happening in Point.
Yeah. It's got like it's over 800 interactions so far. So that's what we're here for, is to bring the people what they need.
Right. And typically at a show, it's full of medium psychics, tarot readers like myself, and vendors and merchandisers, so people can come in and get their crystals, and we kind of bring our store to them, along with all the other vendors bringing their businesses to the people at these wellness fairs, and it allows people that don't normally have that available to them in their area to have a wide variety of things to choose from.
Yeah. I started packing for the event yesterday, and I'm going, talking in my head to what should we bring along for the people, and like decks, tarot decks and oracle decks and inspirational decks seem to be the thing outside of our stones and stuff like that. So who knows what'll happen.
Yes. I'm really expecting a really great turnout there. So if you are in the area of Stevens Point, or even if you're not, come to the show.
Yeah.
It's at the Elks Lodge in Stevens Point.
Yeah. I don't have the exact address, but
No,
it's downtown.
you just have to ask Google it. It knows.
Google
or
does it.
Siri. That's scary.
Scary.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, as we're talking about kind of metaphysical, paranormal stuff, we have an ionizer at home that we had right next to our Alexa, and we renamed our Alexa Ziggy, so it responds to Ziggy. But it would start talking all by itself when this ionizer was on. It would play music. It would say things. It would do various things through the vibration of whatever it was hearing out of this ionizer fan thing, and
It would answer questions.
it would answer questions, and we'd be talking about something, and then Ziggy would answer with something, and it's like, we didn't even say your name.
Yeah.
So it to me that just really reiterates how everything's a vibration.
Yeah.
And
Either that or Arthur was talking through the fan.
I don't know. Arthur is our resident ghost or spirit that lives in the house and likes to do those kinds of things. But we all have that experience in our homes in one way, shape, or form.
Courtney says happens to her all the time.
Oh, we have Diana. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us from Michigan.
Oh wow.
Courtney, Aspen, Shelly, Mary. Hey, it's really great to have you all with us today. Wonderful.
Just curious, Diana, Upper Michigan or Lower Michigan?
Are you a Youper or a troll? I'm from Upper Michigan, so I can say that. Are you above or below the bridge? So anyway, along with the shows, we have. You're in Lower Michigan. Oh, okay. Wonderful. That's great. I have lots of friends down there.
So then she should join us in August.
Yeah, August of this year, we will be at a paranormal conference in Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah.
So Diane, if you're close by to Sault Ste. Marie, you should check that out. Yeah. It's right there, and maybe we'll even venture into Canada and get lost there.
I think we should make a few days of it before the show.
We probably should
go have some fun.
Definitely. But as far as Wisconsin Dells.
Wisconsin Dells.
Yes.
Cool.
We've been in Baraboo.
We'll be in Baraboo again this year for a show.
Yes.
Got Baraboo, I think, coming up in October this year. So
really great turnout down there too.
Yeah.
It's just to us being in these small towns really kind of tells us that those are things that people in that area are really looking for. I mean, we can put ourselves and our shows in big towns and whatnot, but it just seems like the smaller venues bring a lot more people because they're craving it in some way.
Yeah. That's what they say. The Baraboo was a prime example of people saying, we don't get this here. We don't get this here. And so, that's why we do the small towns.
Yes.
Yeah. So
definitely.
Really cool.
Definitely. So we're going to be talking a little bit about angelic language, which is, I guess you kind of call it like speaking in tongues in some other sense. My first exposure to it was actually with Jodi.
Mine too.
And I thought, is she having an issue?
Yes.
Yes. But it was just amazing.
That was in Ashland.
That was in Ashland.
Which we're going to be in Ashland in March.
March 18th.
March 18th.
Yeah, we're just all over the place.
And actually, Jodi is going to be in Ashland with us in March.
Yes.
So if anybody wants to catch her or up there, but she's doing that show with us, and she's doing Brainerd. She's going to do that show with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this lady is so dedicated to her people and her craft, her healing stuff. She's out of North Dakota, and she travels
12 hours
to our shows. So we are so blessed to have her in our life.
Yeah, definitely. And whenever she's at any of our shows, her list is full.
Yeah.
And we have to kind of kick her out at the end of the day going, it's closed now. Stop taking people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. The last one in Grand Rapids, it was, that was an Elks Lodge, right?
That was
an Eagles Club. And so we were sitting in the in the bar area, just kind of waiting for her to get done.
Yeah.
But that was again,
Having appetizers.
Yeah, having appetizers. Yeah, that was an amazing.
It was a good
amazing
day.
show. And
Yeah.
if you're not involved in the wellness fair circuit and you are a healer, a reader, or something like that, really kind of look into kind of putting up a shingle.
Yeah.
And joining the circuit, and you meet really great people, and spirit brings you the people that they know you'll give the answers to those people that they need to hear, and it's a really great service. Plus you get to make new friends and lifelong friends at that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We have connections that, we might not speak for 2-3 months, but when we do, it's like sitting down to hometown stuff. It's amazing. So
yeah. And then we also, with Astrid, with her being an astrologer and all of that is such a science. That is something that you have to use protractors and math and all that stuff to get right with all of the different aspects and whatnot that are involved, all the different angles of the planets, the stars, and where you're at, and all of that, natal charts. And, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of get some predictions from her.
It's
for
just
the year.
so much easier to go, oh, Astrid, or oh, Ellie, and go, can you fix this for me, or tell me what I need to do next?
Right. It's something that requires a lot of dedication and education to do. And I do talk about astrology on the Divination Society, our online magazine for Soul and Synergy, and which you can get to by our website. A little shameless plug there.
Yeah.
But I do have an astrology room where I talk about topics in astrology and all of that. And as I'm learning it, I'm writing about it. But it's just, oh my God, such dedication that goes to learning about that stuff.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And even with Ellie with numerology.
Yeah. So Ellie came upon, if I remember correctly, numerology when COVID hit. She needed something to do.
Oh.
And that's how she got it. I mean, she was interested in it before, but that's how she get her training and stuff. So
yeah, COVID actually brought out a lot of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As bad as it was good for things.
Yeah, and kind of allowing us some time to kind of figure out who we are as people and what we want to do in life and all of that and whatnot. Oh, we have someone, Alicia, coming to us from Midwest Indiana. Thank you for joining us. It's great to have you here. Oh yes, I remember. Welcome back. It's great to see you again. So along with all of that, again, we had, like Courtney just said, time to heal and time to do our shadow work and learn about ourselves. And there's something about being shut in and kind of forcefully so. Yeah. That gives us opportunities to do things we normally wouldn't have been able to do.
I think, and I don't know about everybody else, but for us living out in the country and, we're fortunate enough to not have close neighbors and all that stuff. I never felt shut in.
No, it felt freeing.
Yeah, it actually felt freeing, and we'd just get in the truck or the car and go for rides and do our thing and
stay back, everybody. It's just us.
Yeah. And we never really stopped anywhere.
I
mean, we just did that kind of stuff, and it was really nice. Go to the parks and walk around,
spending time in nature and all that. And those are habits that you kind of carry forward after all of that stuff was done.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So as we kind of move forward in the show, we'll be doing some answering some viewer questions or listener questions or both. I guess it's both, isn't it?
It is.
Coming along the way with some of our guests, and we'll see where we end up.
Yeah. So when just a reminder for people, when the guests are on, go ahead and ask questions, and we will do our best to get them to them and see where we can go with it.
We have multiple screens trying to keep track of all the different comments. So
I'm just so not used to this yet. If you watch me if you're watching the video part, I'm looking here, I'm looking here, I'm looking up there. We have a big, what is this, a 77-inch TV up here for a monitor, and it's like just trying to figure it all out. And then he has his on that side. So
so we have screens everywhere in order to do this. So some of the things that we do here at Soul and Synergy are not just having all the crystals and showpieces and books and tarot there, but we also have classes. And last night we had a class on shadow work. And shadow work is something we bring up a lot because by getting rid of all of the little demons in your mind that keep reminding you of all the things that you've done wrong or you feel guilty about or you have fear about and all of that, and kind of removing the emotion from those things and just letting them be things that happened, it really frees you in order to make you be able to enjoy life.
Yeah.
And
I know people are scared of shadow work.
Yeah.
And really, if you fear shadow work, then just take little bits of it. You don't have to dive into the whole thing and fix everything in one time and all that good stuff, because it does take time and it's never ending. It's always something. So
it's always something. Yeah. And for me, it really happened at a time where, along with some medical things that kind of happened, it caused an awakening in me that everything came forth all at once. So it's just so much to deal with. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But you just kind of dig back into the boxes of your mind and look at the things that you've forgotten about or things that pop up in your mind every once in a while that make you go, ooh, I just don't want to think about that.
Right.
And you deal with it. So when it pops up again, you just kind of ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really kind of a great thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, no, goodbye. And
Yeah.
let it be gone.
And let it be gone.
Send it love and light and leave it alone.
So the little things that go into your mind to remind you of those things so that you don't progress forward don't have anything to hold on to.
So Courtney says, pray for your enemies. I like to look at it differently. I don't have enemies.
No, I don't think I have enemies either. I
have people that we've had disagreements with and stuff like that, and people that may not be for our best or whatever the case may be. But when I do love mantras and stuff in the morning and stuff, I send them love and I send them healing and I send them understanding and stuff. And it's maybe not all for them and a lot for me, but at least I feel better. My vibration raises. It really, turn hate into love.
Turn hate into love.
And that's what I'm talking about. Yep.
Definitely. For sure.
Melanie, the shadow work class was really wonderful. We are all a work in progress. Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. And along with our classes in shadow work, we have classes in astrology, which again kind of goes with our theme of the day.
Yep. And I talked to Rachel yesterday. Rachel is the lady that teaches the astrology here at Soul and Synergy. And we are going to get her class online.
Oh,
So she'll be doing an online format here in the classroom, along with an in-store or in-house class, like you're doing.
A hybrid.
Hybrid.
Yep. And I will be doing, starting in March, a beginner's tarot class, hybrid, where we'll have seats available in our classroom, and then using Zoom, which is going to be interesting. Using Zoom to invite people from out of the area to join in on the class, and then the week after the beginner starts the 8-week masterclass. And I had a great crew of students go through our last masterclass. And it's going to be really, really wonderful to see bringing Zoom into the picture, how that's going to expand the class,
Yeah, and I plan on doing Reiki classes online too.
Yeah.
I have that all figured out in my head.
Yeah.
So now I have to get it figured out on electronics. But,
right.
Because, attunements are energetic. They can be sent anywhere. It can be done just like in-house. So Jodi's like, we need Craig to teach us Zoom. And we've talked to Craig about doing that too. So that actually, we're going to try and get every class we teach online.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Oh, with Zoom on March 23rd, Jodi.
Oh, okay. So we have to get that out there for people to sign up.
Yeah. I think he has it out there already.
But we have to do some advertising.
Oh yeah, when you have to do the linky stuff. And
all that fun stuff. But it's I taught for many years. I was a college professor, an adjunct professor, I guess you would say, for 14 years, and that's during the time when classes were starting just to go online. So I've taught online for many years for a number of different colleges, and so I'm kind of used to that, but. Doing it Zoom is going to be interesting altogether.
Yeah. Yeah.
new adventure.
Yeah, but we're gonna do it.
I mean, we're doing a radio show.
Yeah, so and teaching is just an old hat for me.
Right.
And you,
so I guess that's how it's going to be. So, Beginner's Tarot is in March.
Hey, Craig, can you throw the dates up for us?
Craig, if you're watching, you can just throw the dates in the chat for Beginner's Tarot. And then after that, again, the masterclass, which is 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Yep.
So learning how to use Zoom and all that's going to be fun. So other things that we do, we have Energy 101 that Terry teaches on how to actually harness your energy, which is kind of a good introduction, but really, again, we talk about this all the time. If you're interested in using energy for the things that you want, you really should take a Reiki class.
Yeah. It's not something it wasn't something I taught in my Reiki classes prior to, but I have incorporated some of that. Feeling energy, when we do Reiki classes now, it's, we do 3 hours of practice, and we do, Mary's talking about your tarot stuff.
Oh, thank you, Mary.
Yeah. And, the Energy 101 class is really cool, because I take this room and we reset it, and, I change the energy as we're going through it. I help people, I walk around and I help people feel like crystals and copper and just different items within the space. And then, of course, we call in the dragons, and then we change the energy within the space itself so they can feel not only what's within, but what's without, because you need to learn that energy on the outside as well, because it's the energy you're feeling when you walk into Walmart, and it's the energy you're feeling when you walk into a grocery store. So how do you deal with that energy?
Right.
So besides the fact that, we say it's an empath thing, but it is, but it isn't, because it's not just empaths that feel energy. Let's just say that. So,
right.
So it's really cool.
But one of the things that I think it's River that teaches, how to create a bubble around you, how to do psychic self-defense and all of that. And that's not only important in kind of the energy world, but also a good thing just to know overall how to protect your mind from other people's ability to manipulate it. And all of that, because the words are very powerful, and how you say the words and how it's received by someone can really shift their perception really easily. If you say something in the wrong way, but you have a good intention behind it, sometimes it's still taken the wrong way.
It still is,
unfortunately. But
it has happened, and then it's like learning how to interpret the energy.
Interpret the energy. It's really great to be able to walk in a room and just kind of open up your feelers or whatever, and just know how that room is working, and being able to change the energy in the room to be what you need it to be to get the work done is that much more useful.
You remember when we took so when we were first getting into this stuff, and we had Christina Bloom come to our house out on the farm and teach what was it, psychic development?
Intuitive view,
yes. One of her classes. And we ended up going downtown Eau Claire to walk around and feel the energies. Stone's Throw, we were by the Stone's Throw, walking around through there. Stone's Throw is an old haunt downtown, and just feeling the old, connecting with spirits and all sorts of stuff. So it's really cool to do that stuff. So
definitely.
Again, I blame Christina for things I do. So hopefully she takes that all with the love and light that I send to her. So.
And Terry has a very distinct advantage over me. Terry is very open and very kind of into, well, let's give it a try, and just kind of not questioning things and all of that. But for me, with a science background and requiring proofs and scientific method and all of that kind of gets me off track sometimes when all it really takes is just to be open and say, you know what, let's just see what happens, and not have to have a reason or try to explain it in some way. Just allowing it and whatnot. Allowing is so hard when you're a control freak.
Yeah.
You know.
Don't bother me.
Yeah, he's not the control freak, obviously.
Well,
and
there's
am.
times. I mean, there's times when we're doing events and getting things set up. I like to have things in a certain
Well, that's
order.
different.
But when it doesn't roll the way I perceive it should roll, then I go, well, all right, it's yours. I'm going to do this, and you tell me what I need to do next. And I just send it back to the universe, and because when a perfect thing. When we set up for shows and we're there at 7:00 in the morning setting the room and it's 9:45 and one of the vendors hasn't showed.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have an empty space.
Right.
And I don't like empty spaces because it doesn't make the energy flow as well. So what do? I'll set something there. I'll do something. I'll make that even that empty table part of the energetic space within. So
Yeah, and it's really nice that we have a lot of people interested in doing shows that we can call a day before if someone pulls out and says, "Hey, we have an opening," and then all of a sudden, boom, it's filled. It's a really great feeling to have people that work with us that way.
Yeah.
But as we're kind of moving towards the bottom of the hour, if
wow.
I know.
26 already. Holy crap.
Just putting it out there, to kind of check out our website. We have a lot of things we're offering on there. And one of the things, if you take a look at the meeting our team section of our website, you'll see that we have someone new.
Yeah. Lori.
Come on.
I can't. It starts with H.
Come on.
No, let's go. It's Lori. So we do a thing here at the store called Marketplace. I haven't done it for a couple months, but I think we're doing it in March again. I think I don't know. Mary probably could remember the date quicker than me, but and so we did. Oh, maybe it was even our very first Marketplace. And these people walked in the door. It was Lori and 2 or 3 sisters and a couple spouses and stuff, and they were here. Like, I ended up pulling chairs out so they had a place to sit because we had 5 readers back here, and they were participating with the readers. I bet you they were here for 4 or 5 hours and just enjoyed the place. And now Lori's part of it.
Yeah, Lori Halpin. She'll be joining our team. She's going to be here at Soul and Synergy on Mondays from 5 to 8.
5 to 8. So I'm doing Reiki. March 5th.
Doing Reiki in the.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Mary. Doing Reiki in the evenings.
Yeah.
So she'll be joining us and doing that. So if you're interested, I have the contact information on the Meet Our Team page on our website, so you can call and or either email and set up a time to deal with her.
Yeah, looking for more evening appointments. I don't do much in the evening because I'm here at 8:00 in the morning. So by 6:00, it's the end of my day.
Definitely.
So yeah.
It's really great to have other people here, and we also have Nancy Radin, Randon. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm horrible with names, guys.
Yeah.
And that comes every once in a while to do work with Ascension kind of techniques.
She'll be here Saturday. She'll be here tomorrow. She's gonna. Oh yeah. Speaking of, I'm gonna make sure she has a way in.
So she'll be here every once in a while on Fridays is what it was, and doing healings using Ascension techniques, and it's really great to have those additions to our store. Mm-hmm. But it's 10:29, and we have Astrid in the backstage area waiting to come out. So why don't we take a little break, and we will come back with Astrid to talk about her journey and all the things she has to offer.
Yeah.
Download the new station calendar and never miss another show. To get it is simple and free. Just visit WLTK-DB.com to download or tap the subscribe button on our mobile app. Once the file is in your downloads folder, just double-click it, authorize it to your calendar, and boom, you have every show listed. Not only does it list the shows, but also the links to watch them live. We would like to thank Danny Loosemore for developing this for us and hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Get yours now at WLTK-DB.com or just click subscribe on our mobile app. See you at the shows. Put the power of this station in the palm of your hand and download our mobile app. Visit the App Store, Google Play, and search for WLTK-DB Talk Radio and download the app for free. Listen to past shows, download our station calendar right to yours, and even shop. The WLTK-DB Talk Radio mobile app, now available on the App Store and Google Play. Download yours now.
Welcome back, everybody, to Soul and Synergy Radio, and we have a wonderful guest joining us. Astrid is going to be talking today about astrology and energy healing and everything else she has to offer. And so we would like to welcome her to our show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
Definitely. So it's really great to have you here. And as I was going through our list of opportunities for guests for the last 2 or 3 months, because I hear spirit on the outside of my head, I kept hearing the word Astrid, and it kept going and it kept going. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? You know, we know Astrid because we were building the store and all of that and whatnot. And I was just like, what am I supposed to do with it? And then as I was going through the guest list, I heard it again. I'm like, oh, she's supposed to be a guest on the show. Okay, so
Right.
So hopefully this will meet with Spirit's agreement to have you here with us today.
Yeah, so that's so wonderful. And yeah, isn't it so awesome how it works like that? How we just receive those messages and how spirit works and just connects people and the energy just connects. And yeah, I just think that's so awesome. So
It
yeah,
is.
It's
super
excellent.
happy to be here. Yeah.
So why don't you give our audience a little information about you and what you do, your business, and all of that.
Sure. So I am an owner of a business. It deals with astrology, psychic readings, mediumship readings. I also do energy healing. The name of my business is Lotus Moon Alchemy Company. So I started, my spiritual journey many years ago, but it's really developed over time into what it is today. And I just really love what I do. When I came in, you guys were talking a lot about energy. And I think that was really key for me, is really learning, sometimes when you do what I do, the energy is overwhelming. And so until you get to a point in your life where you can kind of understand what's coming in, what the messages are, how to kind of navigate that energy, it can be a little bit difficult. But yeah, I'm just so thankful to be able to do that today and really understand how that energy works, and then to help other people understand the energy around them as well. It's really nice. So.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what brought you to astrology?
Oh my goodness. So I've always loved astrology. But I'd say I've been studying astrology the longest, probably almost over 15 years, maybe almost 20 years. I've been studying astrology, and it's just so incredibly accurate and helpful. I know a lot of astrologers who also are psychiatrists or therapists, psychologists, and they often say they do astrology with their patients or their clients more. They kind of like get into the astrology portion because astrology is so helpful. I'm not saying that those other things aren't important or aren't helpful, but astrology can really help us understand who we are, what's coming up in our lives, why we do the things that we do. It can just be such an insightful tool to use to really understand our lives better and what can help us. And like I said, why we are who we are, and what our potential is and how to reach that full potential. So I've just seen, in my studies of astrology from my own birth chart and then working with other individuals, how life-changing it can be when you really understand the aspects in your chart and why it is that you are the way you are. And then you can really build on top of that. And, an example of that would be, People who are born with Mercury retrograde sometimes struggle in school. They're very, very intelligent. They have a lot going on in their mind. And then when they go to speak or go to share or go to, get it out, it doesn't always come out correctly. And so I actually have that. I have a Mercury retrograde, or I was born during Mercury retrograde. And quite a few people are. It's not, considerably rare, but that can just be one example of, if you're having difficulty in a certain area and you understand like, oh, that's why I had a hard time expressing myself in school. That's why sometimes I have a hard time expressing what I'm thinking now. That's just one small example, but yeah, it just can be so
wonderful. And I know that we have people come in and I print off their natal chart for them with some interpretation from some the software and resources on the website. But a natal chart is more than just a pretty picture to put on your wall and say, hey, that's me.
Right.
And it's to be used to kind of look at the different things about you and kind of how the stars were aligned when you were born. And in my blog, I'm talking about the houses and what they signify, and about being well aspected and poorly aspected and all of that. But how do you think people can use their chart to their advantage?
Oh, well, you can use your chart for absolutely anything in your life. So whether it's your business or your career, sometimes people often don't realize that their own businesses can have birth charts. So when you start your business can be important, things like that. But for personally, yeah, that's a big thing too. When you're starting a business, kind of looking, because everything has a birth chart, even cities. Eau Claire actually has a birth chart, and it has a lot of Pisces, a lot of music energy, a lot of flow, and we're a very musical, artsy type of city. But personally for yourself, yeah, you can use it for business. You can look to see it's good to look at your midheaven, so your 10th house, 6th house, 2nd house. But I mean, your whole chart, because the whole chart works together. But kind of looking at what you'd be good at, what your interests are, where you would thrive at, what your talents are. So that would be a good way to kind of look at what your business, how to build your business or your career, or what path you should take in life. It can also tell you who your future spouse is, or your partner, how many children you're going to have. It really is limitless. Your birth chart can tell you everything. It can tell you certain things you might struggle with health. It can tell you your psychic abilities. It can tell you, just exactly. And it can tell you how to optimize that potential. If you're somebody who is very grounded and works better, doing that 9-to-5 job, or doing that, really stable kind of everyday routine, then that's what's best for you. Or maybe you're somebody who doesn't do well with that energy. You need more of a flowy kind of day. And, maybe you like to travel more. So yeah, it's limitless, honestly.
So we could do a chart for when we opened our business.
Yeah.
For when we got married.
Yeah.
For any of those types of things, just to see
we do have the stars alignment on our wall.
Yeah, we do have that.
Yeah.
That was one of the nice gifts that we received. But Jodi has a question. Yeah. What do you do if you don't know what time you're born?
So you can still see a lot even without that time. Now you can't find your rising, and then you also don't have the houses, because your date of time shows where the horizon, where the sun was, where everything was rising, and then that's kind of what sets the chart. So it is nice to have that birth time. You can still see a lot without it, but it is nice with it. So there are astrologers who rectify time, who can look at different events in your life and give you an idea of what time you were born. So that's something I can do as well. So, if they wanted to reach out to me, I could definitely help in that area. But you kind of just take a look at different events in your life, and then that can correlate to kind of your time of birth as well. So.
Okay. So do you do the charts manually? Do you have a software that you use?
Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me. I do have a software that I use. But you can also, what I like best for people is to go to astro.com. It's not the most user-friendly site, but it does give you a lot of really good information. And I think it's helpful to be able to look at the circle graph of your chart to kind of understand if you're interested in astrology, it's really nice to be able to read it that way, because the more you learn and more it makes sense, and you can look at that chart and you can see the conversations taking place between different planets and different angles, and it just can be easier over time if astrology is something you're interested in. So I really like astro.com. It has a lot of features. Yeah.
Okay. We have a question from Diana. She says, I have a grand trine in my chart. Are they common?
No, grand trines are rare. So yeah, that's a really awesome aspect. Yeah. So it's more of a rare aspect. So yeah, grand trine is very nice.
And then, so somebody else, Courtney asked about, is your time on your birth certificate? It
Yes.
is on my birth certificate.
It's on mine, yeah.
Yeah, so if you look at your birth certificate, you should be able to find the time, or reach out to the hospital or the county seat now, I guess, or whatever. But
Yeah, most people do, yeah.
But what is a grand trine?
So a grand trine is where you have planets that make a triangle in your chart. Mm-hmm. So it's usually one element. So water, air, earth, or fire, and it will align. It'll look like a triangle pretty much. Okay. So you have planets at each of those angles or each of those points, and it creates a grand trine.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask Courtney. She says location, location, location. Is that, what does she mean by that?
She means location is important when you're doing your natal chart, because that's what determines where everything was.
Oh, sure.
In relation to where you were on the planet.
Yes.
That type of a thing.
Okay.
But what was I going to ask? What happens when you have a chart and all of the planets, like on mine, everything is kind of stuffed in one quarter of the chart and everything else is blank on the side? Is there any significance to all the planets being stuck in one side?
Yeah. So, so if you look, and there's lots of charts available online too, the chart's kind of divided into 4 sections. Almost like two hemispheres, and then also like 4 sections. So whatever section that's kind of in, there's a lot of emphasis on that in your life for this lifetime. So for instance, if you had a lot of planets kind of by your first house, so we'll just say a lot of them are kind of first, second, third, fourth, and most of your stuff is there. There's a lot of emphasis on self and your identity and who you are and what you're putting out into the world. So it kind of depends, where it's at, how you kind of connect and where you can use it.
All right. So aside from astrology, you do energy work and all of that in your business. Do you want to talk a little bit about that type of?
Sure. So I do a lot of psychic medium work as well, tarot, psychic, and then mediumship. I do energy healing as well. I am a Reiki master, but I don't necessarily, I love Reiki, but I'm starting to kind of develop my own sense of energy healing. And it's something I'm still working on. It's something that I feel is, I feel like as a healer, it's kind of a journey sometimes for yourself, like healing yourself and learning what works. And then that alone can kind of help heal other people and help connect to other people. So my healing energy work is a little bit unique. And it's just something that it has a lot to do with just really yourself and going inward and connecting. I do a tea ceremony with my energy healing, and it's just a really beautiful time to really kind of learn how to your own energy connecting. Yeah.
Right. And you do distance healing?
I do. Well, I don't also do distance healing. I do distance for astrology, psychic, and mediumship. Okay. But the healing right now at this point is just is usually pretty local, like in person. But like I said, I'm really developing that still and working on that as well. So I have a lot of new exciting things coming up with the energy healing that I'm doing. So.
Okay. So as you were growing up, when did you find out, hey, I have gifts, and how did you work yourself into this journey?
Yeah. So, I've always been very intuitive. I always could really sense and feel the energy around me. I definitely saw things occasionally too. But I really, like I said, I felt like it was really overwhelming. So I think for a long time, I kind of stuffed it down. And also, I'm a huge empath. So I didn't always understand why. It was just overwhelming. I didn't always understand what I was feeling, or I didn't understand how to kind of localize. Sometimes I feel like psychic work can be like working a muscle. It's like there's localized ways. And you use different muscles when you're doing different things, whether it's mediumship or psychic work or just connecting with spirit. But So I would say probably about maybe 10, 15 years ago, I really started kind of opening up to my journey and learning how to kind of work with this energy. And it's really had a lot of momentum, even just the last 6 or 7 years. It's really become a big part of my life. It's become really who I am. I've really embodied it from the moment I wake up until the moment I go to bed. So I'm certainly not perfect, but it's very important to me. So my spiritual life and path and work and what I do is kind of almost all in one. It's just who I am. And then I can go out and share it with people. And that's really my passion. And so it feels good because I feel like I'm connecting with my life purpose and doing what I'm meant to do. And that's really healing and really, really liberating within itself. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So did you have any trouble, like for me, for example, me getting into this world from a family perspective and some friends and all of that, kind of looking at you funny going, what are you doing? Did you have any of those type of challenges as you kind of said, I really love this part of my life?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had a lot of friends who were kind of like, oh, you're changing so much. And they kind of fell off and we kind of didn't connect anymore. I think sometimes people, they kind of put you in a box sometimes. And when you grow and you expand, they have a hard time accepting who you're becoming and who you've grown into. And it also forces people to look at themselves and to grow and change. And they don't always like to do that. So I feel like that can be pretty common. But yeah, for me, I definitely had friends I kind of stopped connecting with. And family too. I have some very religious family members who don't always agree with what I do. And that, that's their path. And I guess I know what I know and I've seen what I've seen. And so I'm going to continue on my journey and I, wish them the best on theirs kind of thing. But I think it's important to just continue to be true to yourself and allow yourself to be who you are. So
definitely. So, because going through life, trying to meet everybody's expectations, you're kind of missing out on all the fun that your life is supposed to have.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's more fun just to be yourself and enjoy life than worry about what other people think.
Yeah, it's true. And I'm sure you found this to be true as well, as your frequency is changing, the people that match that come into your life. So some people go and then you get all this wonderful group of people to be with that kind of match your energy.
Yes, and for sure. And I mean, the new friends and the new connections I've made are so incredible. It's beautiful. And so every day I'm connecting with more people. And like you said it perfectly, connecting and matching your frequency and what you're pulling in. And yeah, I'm so thankful for that. Yeah. So I definitely gained so much more than I ever lost. So, I don't even look at it that way. I don't that I lost anything. It's just that it transmuted and changed. And I have so much to be thankful for. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And that's how you should approach life, is like didn't lose anything, we gained.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And look at all the stuff that has come into our life. We do have a question from Craig, who hides behind the name Starseed Discovery. He says, I'm really curious, is there an obvious tell in a natal chart if Mercury was in retrograde?
Yeah, so you'll see right away if you look at your information, there's an R behind it. So any planets, you can have any planet retrograde, and there'll be an R next to it, or usually it's like an XR, like a prescription symbol, and that will show you that it is retrograde. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that can tell you a lot too. Yeah, everything is so important. Even the degrees that your planets are at are important. All of it really makes a huge difference.
And any planet can be a retrograde, right?
Yeah. Yep. Any planet can be retrograde. Yep.
And I've been finding out as I've been doing my posts, it's not just planets. I mean, you have like Chiron and other kind of heavenly bodies that they kind of discuss as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yep. The more in astrology, some of my teachers and mentors and women that I've worked with and men that I've worked with, they've been studying astrology for over 25 years and they're still studying new things. It's like once you have the basics and like you say, you go into the asteroids and you go into, there's so much, it's limitless. I think I'm a Gemini sun. I think that's why I really, and maybe one of the reasons why I'm so pulled to astrology is because it's such a limitless, vastless amount of knowledge and things you can study. So
true. So just a question, when science said Pluto was no longer a planet, how did the astrologers react?
Oh, I don't think anybody stopped using Pluto as a planet, It still was there. although Pluto in, ancient astrology and traditional astrology, there were certain planets that we didn't count. I have who we didn't pay attention to. I have an astrologer mentor who says it really good. She was like, when Pluto came into our consciousness and we understood that it was there, that's when its lessons and its teachings really started to become prevalent to us. And I think that that's kind of true. I feel like we're probably going to make more discoveries. Who knows? We're really advancing. Maybe we'll discover more things that we are influencing us that we didn't know before. So.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. All the time.
Yeah, definitely. So are there any other types of interesting things like, retrogrades or whatnot in the natal chart? Is there other types of things that people should be aware of that aren't very apparent on the chart itself?
Yeah, retrogrades, like you said, where your planets are, if you do have a cluster of planets, even if you have 3 planets in one house, that's called, I'm blinking. Yeah. So, but not a sextile. My goodness. Anyways, but yeah, that can be very important to have a group of planets in one house. That makes that house even more important. And then also just looking at, different things like where your sun sign is, that can be very important. Another thing to look at in your chart is when you do have your birth time and you do know your rising, for instance, if your rising was Sagittarius, okay, you would look at what planet rules Sagittarius and whatever house that planet is or whatever aspecting that planet, that will become really important for you as well, or is really important for you in your life. So for instance, if it was Sagittarius, you'd want to look at where Jupiter was, and where Jupiter was in the conversations or is in the conversations that Jupiter is having, are very important. So yeah, and then, just your aspects, the conversation. So for instance, if you've got, your sun conjunct, Mercury, which quite a few people do, some are a little bit closer than others, because Mercury and the sun just travel pretty close together. You would want to, but the closer they are, the more conjunct they are, the more, the sun is going to influence the way that you communicate. So you're going to be, a really good communicator, but it's going to be really expansive, and you're going to have a lot of mental activity, a lot of thoughts. Jupiter also expands. So if you have Jupiter connect Venus, those would be that'd be a beautiful aspect where you'd have a lot of abundance and things going on in that house. You'd have a lot of expansion and a lot of fine arts and understanding things. So yeah, there's so much to look at. So
wow, it just seems like such you could have a degree in it, I think.
Yes, for sure. Mm-hmm.
To learn all that stuff. Let's see, we have some questions here.
Courtney wants to know about can you explain the cycles?
The cycles of like the moon, or like how the cycles of the planets turning?
Yeah, that's the cycles of the planets.
Yeah. So, so the planets, are always moving in the sky, right? So depending on where the planet is when you're born, it kind of, affects your birth chart. And then our transit. So we have planets that are always, because they're always moving, they're aspecting our chart. So that's another, like, kind of the next level of astrology. Once you look at your birth chart and you have a good understanding of that, then it's like looking at the transits in predictive astrology to kind of predict what's happening. So that plays a huge part in your everyday life and in the world as well. And like what we were talking about, when you are looking at like your business charts or your charts when you got married, things like that, you can look to see what's transiting those charts now and how that's impacting things. So you can look at it in so many different areas. We have a really big transit coming up soon, actually, with Pluto. And Pluto is going into Aquarius in March, the beginning of March. So that's huge because Pluto is that outer planet and it moves very slowly. So it stays in a sign, for around 20 years, maybe even a little bit longer. And so the fact that it's now moving into Aquarius is going to create a lot of change, especially around social media, the internet, anything to do with electronics. So we're going to see a huge, and we've already started to see a huge advancement in like AI and just things, electrical things. And we're going to continue to see that. And then to look at where things are personally in your chart. you'd want to look at where Pluto is first degrees, or where first degrees of Aquarius is in your chart. So what house it's at, if you have any planets there. And that's going to give you a key at what Pluto is going to be doing in your life, because Pluto is the planet of transformation, really creating that change. So paying attention to what's kind of happening in your life in March and April will be a good indicator of kind of some big things that are going to be happening long term, even over the next 20 years. Because what's going to happen is Pluto is going to enter Aquarius, and then it's going to go back out into Pisces for a little while until 2024, and then it's going to move back into Aquarius, and it's going to stay in Aquarius for 20 years or so, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
So, yeah.
We do have a question from Mary. Where can I get my birth chart done? So that really kind of asks the question, how do people contact you to work with you?
Sure. So my website is astridela.com. So just astridela.com. Or you can also, just even send me a text message, or I can say, I don't know, I can add my number on there somewhere maybe. Or just even like astridelapoet@gmail.com. You could send me a message. So yeah, that's how you would.
A lot of different avenues to reach you at. And of course, if you go on to the Solar and Synergy radio page on our website, you'll have different avenues to contact Astrid for assistance or for some fun.
Yes.
That's wonderful. So we have a couple of minutes left before the top of the hour. Just wondering if you've done kind of an astrology reading, or do you have any predictions for this coming year in the work that you've done?
Okay, yeah. So one big thing, like I was saying, is we're going to see a lot of advancements in technology. So some big advancements in technology, especially in AI, just in general, we're going to see a big transformation when it comes to that. We might see some switch in world leaders as well. We're going to see some changes happening with that as well. There's also this emphasis of a lot of people, and this might be a little bit more than just the year, right? But this emphasis on people that have kind of been on the bottom rising to the top, and people at the top rising, kind of this switch in energy as far as, people who are supposed to be in certain positions of power moving into power. And that's everyday people too. In your everyday life, a lot of people are kind of moving into place of where they're meant to be. So a lot of alignment with people and kind of their destiny and kind of where they're meant to be this year. Also, you're going to be noticing a lot more people caring about their health, what they're eating, and really simplifying that. So going back to some basics with healthy soups, things like that our grandparents would have maybe made. We're still going to struggle with kind of some food shortage stuff, nothing serious, but still egg prices might not go way down, or, we're going to still notice some things like that. And, but a lot of people are going to be paying attention because Aries, the North Node is going to be moving into Aries. So we're going to just notice a lot of people paying attention to their bodies and, maybe working out more, maybe just caring more, like I said, about what they're eating. So those are some main ones that I see happening this next year.
And there's a lot of things going on in the world right now with UFOs being shot down and wars,
or not UFOs.
Or not UFOs. So many conspiracy theories. Our producer Todd has a lot to share with the world on that kind of a thing. But it's just so interesting the time that we're living in right now, and it's really great to have kind of a method of kind of figuring out what's going on using astrology and the other kind of work that you do. So just really, really wanted to thank you for joining us today. Maybe we can see you at one of our fairs.
Well, I was just going to say, so March 5th is a Sunday, and we're doing Reader Day.
Okay.
Or with our marketplace, if you'd like to participate in that.
I would love to. Yes, absolutely. I'll be there. That'd be fantastic.
Cool. You'll be with, I know Mary Spindler's going to be here doing crystal ball reading and a few other readers. So,
join us anytime we have any of those things, or even for the big shows, I think having astrology there and other types of disciplines are welcome addition to the normal Reiki and all of that's there.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Absolutely. We plan on seeing you there. That'd be great. So thank you so
Wonderful.
much for having me. This is really fun. So
Great. So thanks again. And it's the top of the hour, so we're going to take a little break, and then we'll be welcoming Jodi to our show. So thanks again.
yes, thank you.
Bye, Astrid.
Bye-bye.
The Body Code is a revolutionary method of energetic healing developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson, which allows us to quickly and easily identify specific imbalances that seem to underline chronic ill health, acute and chronic pain, and discomfort, dysfunction, and stress. Ellie energetically connects with the subconscious of the client. Psychic medium Ellie Weisensell is a medical intuitive and energy healer, and a certified body code practitioner. She identifies and clears energetic imbalances within the body and energy field. Contact Ellie at the website below, and Ellie can work remotely from a distance, by phone, online, video chat. There's no need to travel to an office. Remember, the body code is safe for humans and animals. Contact Ellie today.
Welcome back, everyone, as Terry's racing back to his chair.
Sorry,
To Soul and Synergy Radio here in WLTK-DB Talk Radio. So our next guest coming up is Jodi Hemenway. She is one of our really good friends from the fair circuit, and really a great outgoing and bubbly and happy person. But she has so many gifts to share with the world that we wanted to bring her onto the show. So everybody, please welcome Jodi.
Oh, look at you!
Yay!
Good morning,
Hi,
dear.
Good morning. How are you?
Pretty good. We seems like we just saw you not a little while ago in the wonderful Grand Rapids,
Minnesota.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, aren't we just lucky we get to see each other again so soon?
I know.
About a month yet, but
So as I was divining for guests, just like Astrid, you kind of popped in there, and it was like, there's so much you have to share with everyone, and one of the aspects I wanted for you to discuss with the crew as we go through our time together is the angelic language and how you came upon that and all of that. But just like with Astrid and all of us, it's really interesting to kind of describe your path and your journey that's led you to where you are today. So kind of tell the audience about yourself and how you kind of got here.
Oh, well, to be a little more specific, but just as far as gifting goes, it's something.
Yeah, the gift. Like, when did you find you had a gift and all of that, and kind of?
Oh, that's one of those things that I've never not known. People, it's like being a little kid and being afraid of the dark, and it's like there's nothing out there, but yes, there is. I could see what was in the dark, and you're not going to convince me that there's nothing out there. Mm-hmm. And so it just, when I was younger, trying to figure out why I saw things people didn't. Moved in, middle school, high school, had gotten totally used to seeing dead people and stuff like that. What got me in trouble is, you'd be in a group setting and you would say something that you thought was common knowledge, not realizing you had picked up on it psychically, or even through talking, with some of their dead loved ones, and so you'd say something and people would look at you like, why'd you say that? That was a secret. They didn't want anybody to know that. And I'm like, well, I thought everybody knew. I thought, yeah. And so it was just like, I know what I know, why are you lying to me? Or, it was just all those things. And it took quite a while. And I didn't grow up in church. So I was 21 when I gave my heart to the Lord. And it was Pentecostal, bring on the revival kind of church.
Mhm.
And this is where I learned how to use my gifts of healing, should I say. These are those prayer warriors and those old church ladies. I'm telling you right now, the power they hold is phenomenal. If you have nothing else, you get yourself an old lady prayer warrior, because they will pray 24/7 with everything they have.
Mm.
They
Wow.
really truly, but they're the ones who that's where I got my light language, or my gift of tongues. If you're in church, there's tongues interpretation. If you're in the metaphysical, it's light language, but they're the same thing. It doesn't matter what you call it, coming from the same source. And it was there that the ladies, they must have recognized in me what I didn't know was there, because they would be like, hey, Jodi, we're going to do this house cleansing. You want to come? And I'm like, the first time I'm thinking house cleansing, like where your work closed, you're going over to scrub somebody's windows. And I get there and they're the ones who were like, shh, saging, blessing, calling on angels, calling on the Lord, sweeping through the house. And they're the ones who, as they are doing these things, I'm seeing what I've always seen. That is not a good place to freeze.
Hopefully it catches up.
Yeah, hopefully. But it was interesting because they would start talking about what they feel and it's exactly what I was seeing. So they were giving me those confirmations that for the first time in my life. And we're doing this during a house cleansing, so that didn't make much sense to me. But they taught me how to sage, how to cleanse the land, how to lay hands on people. Just okay. Do you want me to shut my camera off and turn it back on, or?
There you go. And there you are.
Sorry, I don't. Should I reach that?
Maybe Todd can bring you out back in again and kind of work in that way. But yeah, there you go. And she'll probably be right back. So as we're waiting for her to get out of her frozen state there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, so we have some comments in the box here. We have Derek and Jackie Fryer saying hello, Danny and Terry. Hello.
Good morning.
We have Tony Hatley, which perhaps it's one of her friends coming on.
I'm guessing it must be one of Jodi's
coming on to share.
He, she, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and then Sherry Bauman and Craig, of course, Yeah, big Jodi fan.
And Lee Warner.
Lee Warner. Uh-huh. Cheerleaders for Christ.
Nice.
And as she was talking about that, what really kind of popped in my head was, okay, we have people from the church, from a religious aspect, going in and saging and saying prayers and clearing a house. How is that any different
than what we do? It's not.
And then why would religion have such a hard time with what we do if we're doing it, just not with that title?
Well, I think it's not all religions. I mean, she was talking about the Pentecostal.
Right.
But when we get into some of the other religions, yes.
Yeah.
They have issues with how we do it, but
yeah. It's just interesting.
It's just the same. It's no different than praying and casting spells. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's all energy.
It's all energy, and it's all just words, and it's.
I guess it's just funny how it seems like people who put themselves into a certain group or whatever say that I am this or I am that.
Yeah.
Think that they're the only ones that, not all of them.
No.
Say, but for the ones that can't see beyond their own silo, go. This what I do is real. Everybody else, what you do is not.
Right. Yeah.
kind of a thing. So it's just a really interesting
Oh, there she
aspect of
is.
that. And there's Jodi again.
Hi guys, I'm not sure what happened, but both my camera and mic went down on my laptop.
Oh no!
Oh, wow.
So probably an update.
Yeah, probably.
So I
But,
just logged in with my phone, and we're going to go from here.
but we have some people in the audience here that said hi to you. If you can scroll back up so I can see the name. We have Tony Hatley. If that.
Oh my God, that's my brother. Howdy.
Yeah, it says, I see you, sister. And then Sherry Bauman, if that's familiar to you at all.
Okay.
And some others that have kind of popped in.
And Craig.
Oh, and Craig, of course, is fawning over you.
Love Craig.
But we were just kind of talking about while you were kind of rearranging your technology is in how, you were talking about going in and doing cleansing and someone called it cheerleaders for Christ and kind of going in and clearing houses, burning sage and all of that, yet you were a part of a church, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how is that different from us doing it from a energy worker perspective, going in and doing all that stuff? And it's just how people have different perspectives on religion and what they accept and not accept and all of that. And I'm sure there are other religions and that with other names that might look at that and go, well, why are they doing that? That's witchy kind of stuff. And it's just funny how everybody has different notions about what energy work all is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Melanie says on a divine level it's the same, but it's just man that gets in there
and messes it up.
Messes it all up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Melanie and Jodi would get along really
I think
well.
they would too, but here's a side note. Me and Melanie had a conversation last night, and she had some stuff. She had a healing session with Tamara, and she came out hating men. I'm not sure how that all worked
Melanie.
in there, but there was some things that were happening. And Joe Hemenway, is that your?
That's my husband.
Yep, he's watching.
Yeah, he says she looks familiar. But anyway, we were talking about you going into the houses and cleansing and feeling like you were a part of something, and they recognize that in you. If you want to kind of continue from there.
And you had just brought up, how is it, house cleansing is what we're doing different than what anybody else is doing. No. And that's one of the things that was hard for me to wrap my brain around is I knew that when I had gone to church for the first time and met Jesus for the first time, that I loved that power that I felt from him. But at the same time, this is where I got confused as my gifts really started to come into play, is I'm what they call an organic witch. I was born this way. I have always had to watch the words of my mouth because everything is an intention, or it could be a word curse or a blessing. But those aren't things you realize when you're younger and mouthy. It's not only until you get older and really start seeing how the words of your mouth move things. So with that said, then I became really scared because I didn't know how I could love Jesus and be a witch at the same time. And so I just took it to prayer and seeking and spirit and my guides, and was just like, and the Lord was like, why is it any different than yesterday? Your relationship with me is the same as it has been since day one. And your powers are just increasing. There's no difference. You're fine. And then that's when he started actually teaching me and showing me, look, you call it creator, I call it God. You call it a prayer, I call it a chant or a meditation or an intention or a spell. And so, there is really I haven't found there is a difference. If you go in and you cleanse a house, you're cleansing bad energy, chaos, bad entities or whatever, and blessing. It doesn't matter what group you're doing it with. That's your intention.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all energy. That's all it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, people tend to find a need to put a name tag on and say, I'm this. but really you can take the name tags off and just be,
Mhm.
and just do.
Yeah.
And to follow your bliss any which way you want to.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about light language. I know when we were up in Ashland and I kind of met you for the first time, I was like, oh my God, what's this woman doing? I have no idea. We were in circle and kind of
Oh,
opening
that
up.
was day 2.
Oh,
That was
day 2.
one.
That's when Stephanie was saying the prayer, or when Jodi was saying the opening circle, and Stephanie was interpreting it.
Hmm.
Okay.
Remember that?
Yes. And then Jodi started speaking light language, and I'm like, am I missing something?
Yeah.
And it was so cool.
It was.
So could you talk to our audience about what light language is and how you came upon it?
This is the best way for me to explain it to you. Light language, it comes from source, God creator. And the way it was always explained to me is it is source praying through you. So I don't know what exactly you need at this moment, but source does. And I know how to speak their language. So I'm gonna open myself up, let source come in, pray through, and I don't know what I'm saying. Other people do. Like that one day, Steph's like, okay. So when I'm praying over you healing, that is praying in tongues and light language. When there are 2 or more people together in a group and one prays in tongues, somebody else may get the message to interpret it for the rest of the group. That's what was happening with Steph. That day we were all there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just totally lost where I am. So you want to know how I was at church? The ladies were all praying in tongues, and I knew this was something I hungered for. It's like I couldn't eat enough of it. I needed more. And they just started praying over me one day, and they kept telling me, just keep talking. If your mouth isn't moving, the light language isn't going to come out. And I could feel it. I could feel something in my stomach and in my chest. And I don't know what it was, but I just kept saying, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Just, thank you, blah, blah. And next thing I know, this bubble came up out of me. I felt my neck like expand, and this sound came out that was like a roar. It was the loudest roar. And I immediately went into what they call intercession prayer, which is that hardcore, heavy praying. And that was my first experience. And then I thought, oh my gosh, if I don't keep talking with it, will I lose it? Like Spanish or something. If you use it, you lose it. No, it is not like that whatsoever. Once you have that connection between source and yourself, and it kind of really, it's amazing because it's a direct line for all things. I mean, we're all very gifted, and we all are very good at reading energy. When I say all, I'm talking about all of us here, because I know you guys, and you're good at talking to dead people and manipulating energy and those sort of things. When you get tapped into source, you just go straight to source. You don't even stop by dead people anymore. I mean, you will if you're giving readings for people, but you don't. Before, when I'd go ask questions and stuff, I would stop and ask dead people and guides and blah, blah, blah. And now I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going straight to the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah. Direct line.
Direct line. Yep.
Yeah. Mainlining source.
And some people, I'm hearing this right now, because I was like, I was arguing this morning saying, I'm not praying online today. I'm not praying online today. But I was just told that you are going to pray online, because there are people out there who don't realize the words that are coming out of their mouths are prayer language. They sound just like yours. So that's what Spirit's telling me right now, is you are going to pray so those people can recognize, oh my God, I'm making those same sounds. Is that what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. So feel free, if that is what you're being moved to do, to maybe provide a message and talk about that.
Okay. And we could wait till the end of the call. I wasn't going to go into a big prayer. I was just going to start talking. So somebody, One that's the most common for me, prayer, I recognize a lot that's coming out. Unless I'm doing intercession or in an intense healing, then the words change. And sometimes they'll break out into song. But most of the time, when I'm just starting to try and get myself into the meditative state, I just start going, and so I don't know what I'm saying, but Spirit does. And he's just praying through me. He, she, her, whoever, however you want to call him.
Yeah.
But, so if you're one of those people who's sitting there chanting and you're meditating and you feel your mouth vibrating and this like gibberish is coming out, lean into it. Lean into it and let it explode, because it will change your life.
So in March, I think we need to have a deeper conversation, because I have found myself, and you maybe picked up on this a few times, when I'm I'm doing healings and I find myself drawing, maybe symbols or whatever over a client, my tongue changes, my words change. When I'm doing attunements, Reiki attunements and stuff, I find myself in here. At first, I thought I was speaking like a Native American tongue or whatever. But yeah, I'm not sure where I am going with that, truthfully.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, sometimes depending on the healing or the person you're working with, sometimes it has come across and it has sound like Mandarin, and I same with you, Native American. It just sounds, there are times I have been praying over people and I know they don't speak English. So the Lord, because of having this prayer language and Source being able to pray completely through you, Source starts speaking, like, I think that the one time it was German. Source started speaking German to this person, this living person, and they knew what I was saying and they were talking back. I had no idea, and had to work really hard to keep myself in that moment and not pull back and go, what the heck is that?
Right.
But keep myself there, because the Lord was doing something, was speaking to them. And when I asked what was going on, and the lady spoke English. She was just second language learner. And so the Lord was speaking to her in her native tongue. And when I asked her what was going on, what happened, I mean, I knew healing was happening. Angels showed up. But I didn't know what was being said. And she just said, the Lord was giving her blessings and showing her telling her how important she was, and that these blessings didn't belong to anybody else. They were hers, created solely and only for her, and they wouldn't work for anybody else. So if she doesn't use them, nobody else gets, it's like she didn't want to receive her blessings. She was like, oh, let the next person have them. They need them more. And no, that all came out in German, and I was like,
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess when they say be a willing vessel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But hasn't it ever kind of interrupted your personal wants or needs or where you wanted to go, and then it kind of has gotten in the way? Has that ever happened to you?
Has what gotten in the way?
Your gift and
Oh, not the light language. The light language has never gotten in my way. But as far as, being a psychic medium, when you run from it, it gets in the way. When you're avoiding it, it gets in the way. When you finally just go, this is me, this is who I am, I don't want to be miserable, I guess I better start having some honest conversations with myself and family.
Yeah.
Then it quit getting in the way. Then it wasn't a struggle. Then it wasn't. But before that, when I was in denial and trying to hide it from myself and anybody else who met me, it got in the way all the time, because it's me and I couldn't get away from myself.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Running sometimes is the first instinct. I don't want to be. I want to be normal. I don't want to be one of those people point at and go, look at her, and or him or whatever, and
right.
and you're trying to conform to society in some way, shape, or form, and then.
Well, and nobody wants to be rejected.
No.
Right.
Nobody. And if this is you know, but so no, it's the scariest part I think was, you know, it's okay. So you're always like this. Your close friends and family always know there's something about you,
Oh, yeah.
or they, you know, they know those things, but actually having to come out, and my aunt and my cousin were the first person I had the conversation with. And I just said, because we, you know, the women in our family, not just the women, but even the men are major empaths and psychic mediums. And but we only had one aunt who would talk about it. And we always made fun of her growing up. You know, oh, crazy Aunt Bev, and I was over there with her voodoo cards, and, you know, because we didn't know nothing, right? And so we made fun of her. And then when Aunt Bev passed about 4 years ago, it was just like, she didn't, I finally just looked at my other aunt and cousin and said, she wasn't full of shit. I see the same exact things, hear them. And Jen goes, oh yeah, I know, me too. And I'm like, you too? And Aunt Sandy goes, well, why did you guys say something? I saw that too. I go, well, none of us want to be made fun of. So now we are talking about it, and we're open about it with our children. And now that we are starting to have grandchildren, you know, it's like we are having open conversations with our children now about our family and the healing or the gifts and stuff, because you can't get away from it. Right. There's no point in trying to get away from it. Right. So we might as well talk about it and let it be a normal thing, which it should be.
Right. We have some. Go ahead.
One thing I wanted to say real fast, I wanted to tell you, when you start, Terry, especially you start going directly to source, that way, channeling directly through source with using light language and stuff, you will find that you're no longer exhausted, because you're not the one filtering stuff. It's just going straight through.
I said, well, maybe I didn't say it out loud, but to myself, when we got done in Grand Rapids and you're still doing readings till 7:00 at night, and you looked fine. I mean, you were a little tired. It's been a long day, but not like 10 hours of energy healing that when I forget to stay in Reiki and I go in and out because, you know, in Reiki, when I'm doing Reiki, it doesn't use my energy. But, you know, it's like, what the heck? Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it just goes through. I don't get that exhaustion. I don't get on those days where I'm trying to slap hands and do things myself, and you know, Spirit's bringing me information, and our dead loved ones are bringing information, and I'm, rather than just open my mouth and let it come through, if I'm really trying to filter and analyze and argue and say, oh, I'm not saying that to them, that's crazy, you know, that's when I'm exhausted. Right. Because I'm filtering everything. But when I just say, okay, Lord, here we are.
Yep.
Bring them on. And then I walk away 7:30 at night. I didn't realize that day till we got to the end. I hadn't gone to the bathroom once, drank any water or eaten any food, because we just went nonstop. And I wasn't. I mean, I was obviously tired, long day, thirsty, dehydrated, but not energy depleted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have an audience member named Lee Warner who is saying it, you know, the time of the Pentecost, I believe, talking about your light language, I believe that's exactly what happened. The apostles were speaking in the tongue of those listening.
Yes, and that's with the Bible. If you're a Bible person, it says they were all together as a group praying together, and the Spirit of God, Source, Creator, ascended above them, and it looked like flames of fire above their head, and they all started praying in light language.
Yeah. And then Joe says, makes family get-togethers interesting. Oh, funny.
You picked him. You love him.
Well, he picked me. I'll tell you, we are a female-dominant family, and we're all a lot alike, if that says anything. So if you can imagine a house full of women like myself.
Oh boy.
Oh wow. That's a lot of power right there. Yeah. For sure.
Well, you know, and you say that, but and you talk about it. And so if like when you and Sherry and even Tara and, you know, and Diet and Christina, this is Ashlyn, honey. This is what's coming up at Ashlyn. are all getting together. There is some major powerhouses coming to Ashland.
Yes.
And I do my thing and I interact with all you guys, but I know who's got control. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I'll get it set up and you guys do your thing, because I don't know if you've got the schedule. Oh, you haven't got the schedule yet because it's at the printer right now. But
Yeah, no,
it's
I'm
amazing
excited.
stuff.
Ashland, yet last year when we got together, that energy from that group that came in was phenomenal. And I know that facilitated healings going on all over in that room, because our collective energy and our collective intentions were it's almost like we walked in that room and left our baggage at the door and we as healers didn't bring any baggage into the room with us. And it just changed everything.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to go back to Ashland.
That was the one where we had the middle of the room healing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with the lady. Yeah, the lady.
Yeah,
There were
so
three of
hopefully
them.
she comes back and sees us again.
So Jodi, are you able to stick with us after the break and keep talking?
Sure, if you need. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So we need to take a break. It's 11:30 at the bottom of the hour. We'll take a little station break and be back with Jodi on Soul and Synergy Radio.
Awesome.
Well, as you can see, there's a little difference here. Danny got called out to something he has to take care of. So it's me and you for now.
Awesome.
So, anyways, so for the audience, if they have any questions or maybe a little mini reading or something, or we do that once in a while on the show. So if that's all right with you, Jodi.
Sure.
Okay.
Just know, because my camera and mic went down on my computer, I'm using my phone. I can't see any comments. So just know you'll have to read them to me.
Yep. Somebody needs a chair. So I will if something comes up like that. So collective energy. So when we do one-on-one stuff, we can feel how awesome that is. When you bring a group of 2 to 10, can you feel the vibration in, I'm not even going to say the room, but the building, the area around us, the town? I mean, you can feel, I mean, I remember when we did, it was during COVID, and remember all the fires in Australia. And we did that mass meditation, and I can't remember what group we were with, but it was an online thing, and there was like 50,000 of us that were doing a meditation on stopping the fires and for the rain to come in Australia. So, and how amazing that worked. It was just like within a day it was done. The fires were gone. So, we
have the power to manipulate energy. We do it all the time.
Yeah. We were talking about that in so when I do the Energy 101 class here or whatever, when I'm playing around, and like I was telling Danny, or we were telling the group earlier, I'll bring out a piece of copper, and I'll bring out stones, and I'll bring out a book or whatever, and help people to learn how to feel that individual energy. Then I them from inside to outside, so they can feel the energy around the room. And then of course I manipulate the energy, and I call in my dragons, and I do this and I do that, and so we can change the energy within the room. So I really believe people would be so much better off if they learned how to manage their energy.
Oh yes. And the biggest thing, this seems to be like my mantra the last 6 months: Do not give your energy to that. That is ridiculous. And that it has been like the biggest thing I've been saying to people. Quit putting your energy towards that. That's not necessary. You don't even care. That doesn't affect you. Quit putting so much there.
And you know, it is. It's like, well, you know, in just our like business development and all the stuff that we've learned a lot. So like, this is February. So the 1st of March, we've had the lease on this place for 1 year already. First off, where the hell did that year go, right?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Second, it's so interesting to be able to come into this building and go, nope, I don't like that, and just sit there and adjust and change and feel and put the walls up, put the boundaries back in place. You know, maybe whatever, walk by last night and change the energy of the building or whatever the case may be, you know. And then, you know, I'm like, okay, Ellie, can you tune in and make sure I got this right and all that kind of stuff, because there's so many resources for us. You know,
and it our energy levels are all different and our giftings are all different, and you access as many resources as you have.
Yeah, and I do. I have so many friends that help us with all these different things that, you know, so, but outside of, is there any one thing that you want to touch on yet before?
No, I know you had brought up earlier angelic healings. And that is one thing when people do come to me and they're like, they want a past life reading or a psychic reading. And as soon as I tap into them, if they have a healing, you know, I always stop them and go, hey, I know you want a psychic reading. We're going to get to that, but you have a healing coming. Apparently you've been working through some stuff and you're actually willing to release this. And so the Lord is like, I need to take this from you. And because there's no point in giving them a psychic. I mean, I could give them the psychic mediumship reading, but usually the message is going to be completely different after they have a healing.
Right.
Or different, you know, and it's, you know, and some people come up and they're like, well, just check me, and I'll start just kind of scanning and, and then like, what's this? And then if I, you know, can always tell when somebody is going to get a healing though, because angels will appear and they just stand there and they're like waiting for me to do my work. And I didn't realize how sarcastic. I guess in my mind, I always thought angels, you know, like they don't even talk and smile. They're just very stoic and they just give, you know, little concrete messages. But the ones that show up to do these healings, I'm telling you what, they are smart mouths. They are smart asses. There are times that I'd be like, get over here and get in here and get this. And because it's like, if there's an attachment or a parasite or a poison or something that we have to draw out first, the angels won't touch. I've noticed won't touch and go in to heal until absolutely everything is out of there.
Really?
Or off of the person. Yeah, they stand there because there's times I'm like, okay, I pulled it off. And they're like, nope, you got to go in and get the poison now. And so they don't touch it. But yeah, and then there's times that I'm like, I'll go back to check on something and they'll like slap my hands, get out of here. This is our job. But they're yeah. And they're quick. They're quick, and they're funny. They'll give messages for the person being healed, like, "Hey, really sorry about this, but you're going to feel gassy for about a week," you know. Or it's just,
yep,
it's great.
I know we should when we do things with you, we always should make sure you have a half-hour time frame for each client.
Oh my gosh!
Because
I know. That's why I have to bring out the timer.
Yeah. Well,
or I need to do either or. If it's healing, it's a half hour regardless. If it's psychic medium, you could do 15. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. Diana says, and Raphael is so loving, but yes, I've gotten the sarcasm my guides include.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are funny.
Yeah.
They are very funny. And if it's a particular angel that, you know, some people have angels as spirit guides, and those ones are the ones that really are, I mean, we'll start like ragging the person's butt. They kind of like chewing the butt, but that person's butt, but they're trying to do it through you, wanting you to. And I'm like, oh, hey, I'm being told blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite when that starts happening for me, it's like, I'll go, I love you. And just remember, this isn't me. This is your guides or whoever that's giving you the messages, because it can be pretty nasty sometimes. And, I will adjust the wording, maybe but I get in trouble when I do that.
Yeah.
They want it to come out the way they want it to come out.
Some do. And I'm sorry, I can only tell you what they're telling me. I can only tell you what I'm being shown. I don't know you. I don't know. I mean, how would I know any of this about you? But it reminds me, speaking of Ashland, I don't know how much time we have. Maybe, do we have time for a story or should I stop?
We got 20 minutes yet. Yep.
Okay. Last year at Ashland, there were a couple ladies that came through. Anyways, this is the first time this ever happened to me. A lady wanted to speak to her parents, and her parents came through. Her mom and dad came through. They came through together. And what her father was telling her is he was not her biological father. And I don't want to tell her this.
Right.
But even her mom is telling her, if you don't believe your father, go have genetic testing done. But what they were trying to explain to her through all of this was they couldn't, her dad couldn't father children. And so they had, and this is what he told them. So they had a very good friend who stepped in and did it old school. And she's like, well, that can't be because me and my brother look just alike. And I go, well, they used the same guy both times. They're telling me that you know this man.
Yeah.
And she wasn't mean, but she didn't want to receive it. She just kept saying, no, no, no.
Yeah.
And when she did leave, she was very kind. And when she left, I just said, what do you do with this?
Yeah.
You gave somebody news like that. And then what do you do with that? And I just slowly heard, you did all you were asked to do. She'll do the rest now. I'll do the rest with her now. She just needed to hear it.
Yeah. 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 It is interesting, and I don't know, I think we get so magical there in Ashland because, we're right on Lake Superior, and the energy of Mother Superior is, I get chills just thinking about it. So, I'm hoping we can do some stuff Friday if people can get in early, and we can do some afternoon stuff or whatever, and have a little fun time. Maybe
have group work, have vendors work on each other or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So everything is, Alicia says, wow, being here with you all, I've never felt so uniquely normal in my life. Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there. When I met DeEtte, I was like, oh my God, there is somebody just like me.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? So we talk about DeEtte a lot. And it's she's the reason. So she was the gateway for all of us to meet. And I blame her all the time for my amazing friends because, I was taking her classes, you were taking her classes, Jodi or
Sherry, Tara, Ellie, all of
Lori,
us.
Yeah. And Lori, I haven't got to meet Lori yet. Hopefully soon. Yeah. So, but what an amazing journey this has been. So, we talk about that all the time, but,
And as far as healings over, I was listening to Astrid earlier, and just some of the things she was talking about are total confirmation for things I've been hearing and getting to. As far as when she talked about the huge push for AI, that really floored me, or not floored me, but just was like, oh my God, because of the AI biomechanical stuff, that we worked on at Midwest Witchery last October. And then again, this last weekend in Grand Rapids, that couple came in that were those two like IT techie out of this world. And I just kept seeing them and AI and biomechanics. And I looked at her and I just said, oh my God, I see you doing stuff with AI, like enhancements on people's bodies. And she's like, well, that's what I do. I'm an artificial intelligence IT, you know, I mean, she just, and I'm like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. You know, so people worry about that. And we talk about AI as, you know, when we're doing it for benefiting someone's health, that's one thing. You know, the AI that, you know, people use to, that I know what they're talking about, you know, the bugs and all this kind of stuff, that the spy stuff or whatever, you know. Yeah, there's two sides to this. So, you know, well, I guess like they said, there's light and dark in every world.
There is.
So it's like, yeah. So it is really like, I don't know what you feel around here right now, but like, it's like I'm getting chills up and down my spine like crazy right now. So this is beautiful. But
yeah, the energy is high right now. Yeah, very high. Yeah, but and as far as readings, I live in North Dakota, so I do a lot of readings over Zoom. I prefer Zoom because people can record it and then they can watch it later if they want, or if there was, you know, there always seems to be a little tidbit for your kids or your spouse or whatever. And
yeah, we're finding that Zoom is a great option for us as well. So, I mean, well, you know, when we were in COVID, I was teaching on Zoom. Like the spare bedroom turned into the major office and all this stuff and you know, all that happened and stuff. But we would do Reiki share on Zoom. We would do, you know, just different, whatever classes. I would take my master's and we'd go into Zoom and I would teach psychic surgeries and different things on Zoom. And I'm like, how awesome. I'm not disconnected from anybody. I still have Zoom.
Exactly. Yeah, the same, because when you're sitting right across from me, I don't put my hands on you anyways. I mean, I just use the energy to read you. I don't put my hands on you. And so, I mean, we don't even have to be Zooming for me to link in and put my hands on you. We do that to people. I mean, we all do that to people all the time. If somebody says so-and-so is in the hospital and we're like, okay, I'm praying. What are we doing? We're not physically driving there and putting our hands on these people. We are literally in our mind, pushing our healing energy towards that person, wherever they are. You know, we do it all the time.
So before I forget, are you on Facebook or how would people get a hold of you?
So I'm going to be honest, I don't have a website yet because this is going very fast for me. I didn't ever think I'd be a person who needed a website until here recently. And I'm like, okay, I need to build one of those. Are
you a document control specialist?
Mm-hmm.
It is you. Okay, I found you. So all you have to do is Google you.
And I'm on Facebook. And my email, if somebody wanted a reading or something, is jodi.hemenway@outlook.com.
So I was gonna, for some reason I can't get down. There we go. So JODI. Okay, my button's not working. Come on.
Hemenway.
Well, you guys, I can't get my thing to share, so hopefully you can hear what she has to say. I wonder why that's happening.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you just fine, but I have now it's going to work. Jodi.Hemenway at Gmail, you said?
Outlook.com.
Outlook. There. So I put it in the comments so people can find you. There it is. Oh, well, so I had a little error. It's at Outlook, not .outlook, but you'll figure it out.
Somebody will, huh?
Yeah. So, or they can just Google you and you come up on all sorts of different things. So
that's scary.
Pinterest account. So
Well, of course I do.
You're very accessible. Oh, thank you, Todd. Todd picked for me. So
Thanks, Todd.
that's cool. Yeah. And if you want to do a website, I have somebody I can hook you up with.
Okay.
So she's very reasonable. But when you get to that point in your life, what else do I want to talk about? We have 5 more minutes.
Is there any questions? Does anybody have a question or
So did
some
anybody have a
clarifications?
question for Jodi? RJJ Cable says, thank you. Lots of relief on myself feeling drawn to this, but the fear of Christianity, but in you about to make it overthink it. Oh, okay.
It did. It really bothered me. I was struggling. I didn't know how I could have both. I was born both ways.
Yeah.
You know, an organic witch and obviously from source. And I didn't know how I could love both. And just when it was like, it's just semantics, it's just what you're calling it. It's just English vocabulary, but it's the same. It was like, it changed my life. It totally changed my life. I could do one without feeling guilty about the other. and I, last October spent the whole month doing readings and healings at Midwest Witchery, sorry, in Stillwater. Sorry, didn't mean to do a plug there, but this is a witchery. This is a witch shop and an apothecary, and this is what they do. And it was amazing for all of us there to work so closely and realize, we're not different. We truly are the same. And it's like,
oh, I get, and I struggle with that. I don't anymore. I used to struggle with different things. But so Todd wants to know, out of all the chakras, which is the most important to keep clear?
Why is there one most important? I thought they all need to be clear. But for me, for myself, and you're just talking about the basic ones?
Yeah. I know where you're going.
Yeah, I know. I was like, for me, it was like, well, the 11th, but
or 14.
I think the higher you go, I think your ends need to be clear.
Yeah, I agree. If you go root and crown. Yeah, I agree. Because I've been doing. You talk about this, the chakra balancing stuff, because we always work on things with our clients and stuff. And I've been pushed, like I'm at their feet working, and I'm working, like balancing, making sure that the root is connected, everything is connected up. And I see the 7th, and I'm like, oh, there's 8. Oh, where are we going with this one? And then all of a sudden I get pushed from the feet because you have the earth chakra sitting between your ankles, so they're, where do you go? It's the client, it's the person, it's you. What do you feel you need to do too? So
well, and it's that whole, how do I try and explaining some of this stuff the way it gets explained to me from source or angels? And I was thinking about that too. And as you're talking, they're giving me images of, what we've all seen diagrams of a wormhole. Looks like a donut, energy's going like this. But as you're talking, the Lord, he's saying, turn it on its side and think of, the section part is the body and how that's looping between your grounding and your crown all the time, feeding each other. And he's like, balance that. It's like he was telling me for myself, I'm like, what do you do? And he said, you don't just balance the outside. You get that running, you get that loop going through. Which I don't know how to do that, or I have not ever done that, not been asked to do that. Is that something you do? Is that something?
I do.
Wow.
When I tune in, I work at the crown and then go to the root and then go back and forth. And because if I can feel the energy flowing from crown to root, I know everything else is working.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed a lot that's been coming up, a lot of healings in the past life healings, people that bring stumbling blocks and stuff with them into this life.
Yeah.
And they'll come in and they're like, oh, I'll do a past life reading, and you get in there and you're like, dude, I haven't seen all these patterns. Let's take care of this.
Yeah.
Let's heal this so you don't ever have to deal with this again. And this is what I hear every single time there's a healing and we're removing something, whether it be a past life, an attachment, or not. We're not removing a past life. It's an attachment or something in a past life. Is people say every single time they go, I felt that come out of me. And I'm like, well, good. I'm glad it's gone. Now you know what it feels like to not have it.
Yeah.
If you recognize that old feeling again, slap your hands. Don't pick it back up.
Well, I remember the day you worked on me, I could feel things adjusting and moving, and my head was doing its thing. And it was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah. The healings, the baggage we bring from past lives and stuff with us that are so unnecessary. I mean, you and I, people, like we can just step in and within a matter of minutes can essentially change somebody's life, because sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think, and we just have a couple minutes left, but now things are rolling here. So do you believe that people have to relive their trauma to heal from their trauma?
No. And I know that there's different kinds of healings too. If there's a trauma, I think relive it? No. Do I think most, we push it down, and what goes down must come up. And as it comes up, do you have those memories and feel that pain temporarily? And while it's being ripped out of you? Yeah. And sometimes you'll have those memories for a couple weeks, but they go away. And it's almost like you don't even remember the pain. You know the story of what happened to you, but you don't feel the pain and all of that. But I don't think it has. In my experience, when it's a painful experience, healing, I don't even know if I should go there and say this. When people have to relive, sometimes there's other things going on there with, like, you have to be careful. Multiple personalities, there's some mental illnesses that you have to be very careful. What that you only do what Spirit's guiding you to do, because we don't know everybody who sits across from us.
Yeah.
I have found that, yes, you will recognize it, you will feel it, but it will go away. You do not have to be stuck in it unless you choose to.
And if you're choosing to, you're not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That historical sin or heritage sin. So that you have baggage from ancestors, from the
yes, and I call those generational curses.
Yeah, for sure. And mental health is real, and it certainly is.
Mm-hmm.
And healing can hurt. I'm just kind of working up my list over here. So healing can hurt, but when it's gone, it's gone. And you might, like you said, we might get that memory back or that thought back, but it doesn't have the energy to hurt us anymore. So,
yeah. And a lot of times when people are like, why am I thinking about this? I haven't thought about this for years. I don't want to think about this. A lot of times if they just stop and go, whoa, why am I thinking about this? It's like, well, what you don't know in the background, your guides and your angels and everybody have been working with your soul and on a subconscious level, and you're ready to let go of this. You just need somebody to help you release it. That's why you're thinking about it now after all these years, or one of the reasons it could be you're ready to release.
You're ready to release. Yep. All right, my dear, I love you.
I love you too.
And I will see you in March 18th in Ashland. Hopefully I can see you before then, the 17th. Or I don't know what your schedule is for coming over yet, but
I'm thinking about coming Thursday.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
Or driving that way. I'll be in Ashland Friday morning or Friday afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, because we plan on going up either Thursday night or early Friday morning. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, all right.
Okay.
See you later,
Love
sweetheart.
you.
Love
Bye.
you too.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. So we got about a minute left. Just a couple reminders. Somewhere in this post, I put the dates for Danny's Tarot. online. So March 14th is Basic Tarot, and that is where you just kind of learn the ins and outs and stuff. And if you really want to continue on, or if you've been practicing tarot and you want some refreshers and stuff, he does that online. On March 14th, he's doing that class. March 21st starts the Tarot Masters series. It goes for 8 weeks. It's running through May 16th. So with that one, if you sign up for the whole process or the whole 8 weeks and you miss a week, don't worry about it because it's all recorded. We'll get you the recording for it. Just looking through here, Craig has his Starseed class somewhere in here. I lost all the comments. I apologize. But you can find this all on our calendar or email me at soulandsynergy@gmail.com and we can get you all the information. So I just want to thank all the listeners. You guys are amazing. If you're connecting with Jodi or Astrid, please reach out. If you can't find their contact information, again, email me at soulandsynergy@gmail.com. I'll get you their information. Oh, or you can go to our website. Danny has it on the website, all their contact information. So, all right. Love you all. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.